I now want to welcome in Peter Doran, Adjunct Senior Fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Peter, welcome back to the show. Okay, a lot of speculation on what the Putin actually said today. He says that he is maybe open to a ceasefire talk, but he wants to speak with President Trump. President Zelensky is saying that he's just punting the ball, that he really doesn't want peace, and he's just trying to buy more time here. What do you say?
Well, I think Putin's response to this proposal by the United States for a 30-day ceasefire, well, let's look at what he said. It looks like a Russian negotiating tactic. Putin appears to want to draw the United States and Ukraine into prolonged discussions while Russia continues its attack, and most importantly, it refuses to return Ukraine's stolen children. Note what President Trump said today. He was focusing on the return of land, and yet he is ignoring a major issue. The 19,000, possibly more, stolen Ukrainian children who are now in Russia. They've been taken from their families. The Ukrainians want these children back. They've said that's a condition for peace, and Vladimir Putin is trying to draw all sides into his negotiating games. So we should be very cautious here.
And that is a story that has really gone untold. These missing children that Russia has taken during this now into the fourth year of this war here. Let's talk about the land aspect of it, though, because so far Russia has seized about 20% of Ukraine's land, the size of Pennsylvania, something that is a red line for Ukraine. They say, we want our land back. We're not giving that away. But how likely is Putin to actually relinquish this land? Because so far we don't really know what either side is willing to give up.
That's right. And there was an important word in Vladimir Putin's own statement today. It was the word but. We are willing to talk with the Americans, but. So the issue will come down to how much land Russia must give up in order to have peace, and how much land the Ukrainians are willing to give up, at least for now, in order to have the fighting stop. This is going to be the hard, heavy lift for the United States to negotiate. President Trump is a deal maker. If he's ever made an important deal before, this is going to be it. I would, again, caution, though, Vladimir Putin, it looks like he's trying to draw all sides into the minutia, well, whereas Trump is trying to keep everyone focused on the big issue at hand. Let's have peace.
Yeah, and we even heard Secretary of State Marco Rubio say when Ukraine had agreed to this deal, now it's in the hands of Russia. If they don't agree to this ceasefire, we know that they're not serious. And now it seems like people are questioning how serious they actually are. But let's talk about this. If it is agreed upon that Russia is allowed to maintain and keep the land that they have acquired through an unprovoked war into Ukraine, what message does that send to the rest of the world? What message does that send to a country like China, who we know has aspirations to take over Taiwan?
It's a very dangerous message. It says if you have an army and you covet your neighbor's land, you can use force to take it. Russia used a grab, stab, and hold approach in order to seize Ukrainian land during its expanded invasion. Now that President Trump is trying to negotiate at least a short-term ceasefire, Russia looks to remain in control of all of the territory it has seized since February 22nd. 2022, excuse me. This sends a very dangerous message to countries like China, who also look at Taiwan and think, well, we have an army, we have a navy, maybe we can go take Taiwan. So we're looking for peace here, but it does send a very dangerous message to other would-be aggressors around the world.
Yeah, and this comes as Taiwan's president just today warned that China is ramping up its efforts of espionage and spying on them with the goal of taking over. So we'll be watching this closely. Obviously, as Special Envoy Steve Witkoff is in Moscow today to speak with his counterparts there, potentially Putin, and we'll see if that call happens.